The political fight over U.S. immigration policy is heating up, both in Washington and at the southern border. Congress and the White House remain deadlocked over providing more security funding. Well, yesterday, House Speaker Mike Johnson pressed the issue by leading a delegation of over 60 GOP lawmakers to the Texas border. Face the Nation moderator Margaret Brennan sat down with Johnson during his visit to Eagle Pass. Margaret, good morning.
Good morning to you. Well, Border Patrol agents here tell us they barely have the resources to deal with the challenges on the ground. They need more agents to patrol this remote stretch of the U.S. Mexico border. They need more consequences for migrants who cross illegally and to be able to counter the cartels that are smuggling in migrants. But it is President Biden who sets immigration policy. Congress writes the laws and controls the purse strings, and there's no agreement on how to solve the national crisis.
The situation here and across the country is truly unconscionable.
House Speaker Mike Johnson and his fellow Republicans watched Venezuelan migrants make it across the Rio Grande and the razor wire set up by Texas law enforcement. The Speaker wants President Biden to adopt some Trump-era policies.
If you don't end catch and release as a policy, if you don't reinstitute remain in Mexico, if you only fix asylum or parole and not these other things, then you don't solve the problem.
Do you believe that more border funding is needed?
I don't believe, our position is.
Because the White House says they want to hire more agents, they want to do all sorts of things, and you are standing in the way in the House.
That's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense. They have to solve the crisis here, and throwing more money at the broken system will not do that.
The White House asked Congress for nearly $14 billion to hire immigration judges and agents, fund shelters, and provide surveillance technology. A bipartisan group of senators and the White House are trying to broker a compromise to combine that funding with policy changes. Any deal would be linked to aid for Ukraine, Taiwan, and Israel. But Speaker Johnson is not yet at that table. House Republicans are trying to impeach the Homeland Security Secretary.
I believe Secretary Mayorkas is an abject failure, but it's not because of incompetence. I believe he has done this intentionally. I think these are intentional policy decisions that he's made.
But that doesn't sound very hopeful, given that he is the main White House point person talking to Congress right now.
Secretary Mayorkas,
you're going to impeach the guy you need to negotiate with.
Secretary Mayorkas is not a good faith negotiating partner. He is unwilling to enforce existing federal law. Why would we believe that he would do any new provision? He's lied to Congress repeatedly. He's lied to me personally
about
under
what?
Oath. He stood in front of my committee on multiple occasions and insisted that the border is closed and secure when everyone in America knows it's not true.
The Speaker argues Biden already has power to detain and deport more migrants. Like Stephanie Nicole Cerda, who told CBS that she fled abuse in Honduras.
When President Trump says immigrants are poisoning the blood of our country, is that a statement you agree with?
That's not language I would use, but understand the urgency of President Trump's admonition. He's been saying this since he ran for president the first time, that we have to secure the border.
Because it sounds hateful.
Well, it's not hateful. What President Trump is trying to advance is his America First priority.
Yesterday, the Justice Department filed suit against the Republican governor of Texas, who wants to use state law enforcement agents here to arrest migrants, even though immigration is regulated by federal authorities. And here, Governor Abbott has been asking taxpayers to fund buses to ship tens of thousands of migrants to Democratic-run cities across the country, something he says is necessary to alleviate pressure on towns like Eagle Pass, with its 30,000 residents. Anne Marie?
So, you know, Margaret, your story sort of very clearly illustrates, especially hearing from the Speaker, how both the White House and Congress are sort of pointing fingers at each other and saying, you do something first. But we have seen groups of bipartisan lawmakers try to hammer this out. I think as recently as November, we've seen them gather, work through the weekend, try to, put together some sort of a new asylum policy. Clearly, amongst some lawmakers, there is a will. Did the Speaker indicate in any way that there could be bipartisanship in Congress to move the needle a little bit, or is he placing all the blame on the president?
Well, you know, this is one of the things that frustrates immigration experts and those who are handling things on the ground, because they say stop playing politics with something we need an immediate solution to. But what we know is that at the moment, the speaker said in our interview, he does want a deal. He said he does want an agreement both on the border and to pass aid for Ukraine, but he is not, Anne-Marie, part of those negotiations right now, and he has not even been read in on what Senate Republicans say they're willing to do with the White House. He faces a very tricky political situation in the House, where he has the thinnest majority in decades. Just 219 Republicans will be in Congress by the end of January. You need 218 votes in order to govern and pass legislation. So what that means is that he is going to have to get even the hardest line members of his party on board, or he has to turn to Democrats in the House to pass legislation and do what he says he wants to do. So this is extremely tricky back in Washington on the political front, and we haven't even mentioned the fact that we're entering a presidential year.
Indeed, and we all remember what happened with the last speaker when he tried to sort of find some bipartisanship on at least a different topic. Margaret, thank you very much. You can see more of Margaret's interview with the House Speaker Mike Johnson this Sunday on Face the Nation. That's must-see TV.